Hi guys, welcome back to Lawlors Law. This is your raw unfiltered Birmingham City podcast where we usually moan about stuff, but I think today we're a little bit proud because we went out the FA Cup in the fourth round. But I'll hand it over to you two to what you think. But I was proud watching that result. But Jord, first of all, what do you think and how are you?
I'm all right, mate. I'm not too bad. As you said, I'm split down the middle. I think Max is the same as me. I think we mentioned it on last week's podcast that I'm proud of the boys for what they did. I'm a little bit, I wouldn't say pissed off. I'm a little bit annoyed that there wasn't the same showing against the Baggies, but we'll get on to that in a bit. What about yourself, Max?
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. I messaged you, didn't I? Or I tagged you in a message anyway during the game, and I just said, "Where was this on Tuesday?" Because it's exactly what we'd said on the last podcast. It was disappointing. It was. I was very proud. It was a good performance, strong performance. I think we should have won, and I think we should have won it in 90 minutes or whatever it was, 96 minutes, because we had the chances at the end to put it away. I think when we got our equaliser, Leeds were absolutely rattled, weren't they? So that was our chance to jump on it and get the win. Yeah, really good performance, which I'm sure we'll pick apart in the next kind of 30 odd minutes, 40 minutes. But it was sad that we couldn't do it on Tuesday, and we've got like 14 kind of cup finals now, haven't we? So we need to have that every single game, starting with Norwich on Saturday. So yeah, slightly, well, very proud, but slightly disappointed that we couldn't do it on Tuesday. But we need to have that level of performance for the rest of the season. And if it drops below that, I can't see us making the playoffs. So we need to have that kind of performance going forward. But
Yeah, I think we had a blessing really last night with Wrexham Bristol ending in 2-2, weren't it? So that kind of nullified either of them getting a lot of ground on us. I will say three words, which I'm going to just bring one of my biggest points of the game that I enjoy more than anything. I'll leave it with you to discuss. Ryan fucking Allsop. Discuss.
Do you know what? I think, again, we've been banging on about it now for long enough on this podcast that Beadle's distribution is his letdown point. I think his low saving can be improved. His distribution's been his weakest point. And no matter who you are or what your thoughts are on Beadle, I don't think there's any disagreement after watching Beadle's distribution, just how calm and how smoothly he goes through a transition of getting that ball back into play. You know, even on such a boggy ground that we were playing on, I've never seen the home pitch that torn up. I know, and this isn't anything against the groundsman. It's, you know, it was wet, but even every pass, silky smooth, straight to his man. He's just, do you know what? I think if age was a bit more on Allsop's side, you'd be talking of a keeper that we'd be wanting around for years. You know, I think he's shot stopping is the one thing that lets him down on occasion, and I think that was what we were warned about when he came in. But his distribution, I mean, with the amount of possession we like to play, he's only going to have to face probably 6-7 shots a game, if that. I'm sure that, you know, he'd keep most of, if not all of those out. I'm confident enough in him with that. But his distribution would just flip this team on its head. And again, everybody's going to think that it's me just hating on Beadle. It's not at all. I think, like I said last week, he's improved recently. But I think Baggy's also let him down, and I think we've seen the frustration coming from the bench. And I think a few of us said before Leeds that we could see the Allsop change incoming. He's done nothing but just cement his place. I don't think he's done anything wrong to his chances of playing the next few games.
Yeah, Max.
I think that I don't think he'll play. I don't think he'll play on Saturday. I think Beadle will come back in, and I just think that's testament to how Davis is and how Davis works, and he's got those players that he gives that shirt to. Sadly, it would warrant probably a start on Saturday because of his performance against Leeds. Allsop, it would warrant it, but he probably won't get it. So that's what I think about. I think he's back out of the team again. It is sad because he played very well. Jordan's right. His distribution was do you know, his distribution at points was it was almost just unbelievable. It got a lot of reaction from the crowd where they were like, Jesus, that was, a good pass or a good kick or a good throw, or his pace at getting out of his feet as well. And how comfortable he is in the back line and how comfortable those two in front of him look when he's got the ball. Because it was a boggy pitch, just like it was against West Brom. But for some reason, it didn't look as boggy with Allsop as it did with Beadle, because he didn't look like he had his shitty, shaky legs like Beadle does. Allsop just brings that calmness and control. But there were passes that Allsop made forward that if they didn't reach the man or didn't get to the man, it was more the player's fault rather than his fault, because he was putting it in the absolute perfect position. When the players like Jay and Osman and Dimmy got onto it, they might have miscontrolled it or just not maybe made the right run. But his passing was perfect. Yes, he is struggling. He still struggles with shot stopping. Jordan's right again with that. But my only issue with this whole thing is that he played really well against Leeds. He didn't face too much because we stopped them playing in midfield and we dominated them. They had a few little spells, Leeds, and they got their goal during that quick spell at the start of the second half. But the way that we played and the way that Doyle and Solis played together in midfield, they couldn't really get a kick, I thought, Leeds, to be honest. And that meant that Allsop didn't have to face too much. He made one good save to his right-hand side. He came and collected it quite well. But the defenders and Clara and Panzo were clearing most of everything out with headers, so he didn't really have to do too much. My only issue with it is, going back to that, is that when he had played this season, he got dropped for Beadle, right? So he started the season, didn't he? So he started the season for us in the Championship. And I felt like his distribution disappeared. I don't know if both of you agree, but when he started the season, he was built up. He was built up that in the Championship he could give this amazing distribution out because it's played at a lot quicker level, the Championship, than League One. So he would be perfect in goal for us because he would be able to get the ball straight down the field. Now, every game I watched him play, or the majority of games I watched him play when he started the season, it just seemed to go away from him. His quality of passing and his distribution seemed to go away from him. So I don't know whether he got inside his own head with it, but we saw the old Allsop against Leeds, basically the League One Allsop we saw on Sunday. If he was able to do that again, I'd want to truck him straight in. But I feel like what would happen is Beadle gets dropped for the league games, Allsop comes in, and that distribution disappears again, and everyone's like, "Well, we'll have to put Beadle back in goal now." But I mean, Jordan's the goalkeeper out of the three of us, so I don't know if you agree with that, Jord. But that distribution did seem to fall away from him. And that's partly the reason why I think he got dropped.
Yeah, so I think the big thing is I think the one massive way that you have to look at that is at the start of the season, he was kicking to Kyogo. So, like, his aim is to get it out wide and let them play in towards him. He couldn't do his massive launch down the middles or play it through the centre like he does with Jay. And I think the big thing at Leeds, and we'll kind of get onto him, was ultimately Raymond at Priska. Yeah. I think that's the big thing is your distribution's only as good as the person it's going to a lot of the time. And again, I don't want to keep just looking like I'm going back to pick on Beadle, but you kind of wonder who his distribution's going to. Whereas Allsop, you kind of go, right, it's gone to XYZ player. Okay, was it, like you just said then, it's more down to then what the player does with it, not because you always know where Rocky's distribution's going. I have no doubt in the fact that he's probably got a fault in him occasionally, but it's kind of like Ruddy and Everidge all over again. You know, one of them's going to get your stability, probably a little bit of the older of the two, a little bit more kind of slower in certain parts of the game than the other. But what that ultimately gave us was the fact that Everidge couldn't kick the ball. So Ruddy was the person that went in for your distribution. So again, I think this is where we need to go back to our squad depth. And I think this is a massive, massive thing is we've got the rotational option. So if we're playing against a big low block team with central defenders that are just going to shithouse it for 90 minutes, just put Beadle in, because worst case scenario is, it bounces over the top of them and hopefully someone runs through. In the games where we're going to dominate in the air, or if we're looking at a bit of a higher press, then Allsop has to be your man, because your kicks have to be going to someone, a target man. I think Beadle works well with the likes of Kyogo, Stansfield, Dutch, players like that, because they will run in behind. Whereas if you're playing Prisca, you're playing Vicente, players like that, where they want it to kind of a one-touch roll off and hold up play, then Allsop's got to be your man, because he'll pick that pass out perfectly. If he doesn't pick it out to the first man, it will fall somewhere into midfield where they can pick up and play from. He doesn't shift everyone across a pitch. He always makes sure one or two stay to the other side of whichever way he's shifting the play. Again, you'll have people out there going, well, I think he's shit. I don't think he's championship level, this and that. Maybe at Hull he wasn't, but we also need to remember he's a Blues fan. So you always see with Rocky 110% out of him no matter what, because it means a lot to him, as it would to anybody who's a Blues fan, to pull that shirt on every week. And I think another point to make with what you said at the start of the season is, you, as a career veteran goalkeeper that's a bit of a, not a journeyman, I'd say, but, he's been about, to then look at the fact that you've just come off the back of a really good League One season. I wouldn't say it's a phenomenal season, because there was the odd game in there where, the defence just fell apart or the keeper wasn't involved. But when you're sitting there and you're going, right, I've just got us promoted, really that is my chance to kick on. And then Blues just go, well, actually, before you get carried away, I'm going to just go and sign not only an England under-21s goalkeeper, the one who's just won the Euros with that England under-21 squad, and one that's been, coming off the back of a poor championship season, but has just played a full championship season. Like, you're in your head at that age, I'm not saying Rocky's old, but when you look at it, you've got to be looking at Allsop and going, like, oh shit, they're bringing in a younger, model to kind of take that place. So your confidence is going to be rocked instantly, because you're like, well, what have I done wrong to deserve that?
Nobody has to even tell him that he's dropped, do they? With that signing, is a statement signing to say you're going to be on the bench.
It's sort of similar to when he came in over Peacock Farrell. I think Peacock Farrell, the minute that Allsop signed, just kind of knew, oh shit, maybe my days of letting balls roll under me are better off at Blackpool. It's a similar situation, but you've got to look at it and you've got to feel sorry for Allsop. Is that he hasn't really been given much of a chance to kick on from last season. It was pretty much, oh, here's your new younger replacement model, and any slight fuck up, you are back out and he is back in. But then when Beadle has any kind of mistake or bad game, it doesn't go vice versa. It doesn't swap back round. We don't see Beadle make two mistakes in a game and then all of a sudden Allsop starting a game. It just doesn't happen, which is why I feel sorry for him, because, it's happened to him. He made one mistake this season and he instantly got dropped the next game.
Yeah, but that's why I feel like he won't. I feel like Beadle will play on Saturday because of that reason. That it's not this for that. It's not change and swap around, vice versa. It's Allsop gets one chance, plays well, and then it's sit back down again. So I know what you're trying to say in terms of we have a better squad, that better players running onto those passes from him. Is that what you're saying? So it's more likely to succeed from Allsop.
Yeah, it's sort of that mixed with the fact that you've got a rotation option. Like I say, if Davis is really persistent on Beadle getting game time, I don't see why, especially if we're playing 3 in a week, Saturday, Tuesday, or Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, why he doesn't just say, right, Beadle plays the Saturday games, Allsop plays the Wednesday games. Say, I'm just kind of going off random days here, but I don't see why with depth now. Why don't we just rotate and see? He's doing it elsewhere on the pitch, so surely the goalkeeper position's one that's got to be looked at as well.
Yeah, I think certain keepers for certain games, 100% I agree with. I think two things. One, like you said, his distribution. The amount of times he pinged it to Dimmy in the first half, and Dimmy just absolutely blitzed their right back was unbelievable. Do you think it's part of the Brighton contract that he has to kind of, if fit, start games? Like, you know, like in the league, he's got to start so many games, surely, as part of the contracts, otherwise they'll win because loan agreement.
You know what? I'd like to say yes, but the Rushworth at Coventry seems more nailed on for a future with him than Beadle. It is a loan, isn't it, Rushworth?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if I'm Brighton now and you're going to me, right, you've got two choices, the blue pill or the red pill, and the red pill is Rushworth and the blue pill's Beadle. Give me the red pill all day because Rushworth's, I know Coventry are on their catastrophic fall off, but for what he's done this season, you would instantly turn around and go, right, I know which one's going to be my future keeper here and which one's kind of destined to linger in Championship football. But again, I don't know what Brighton have sent him over with. I doubt that it's anything like that because obviously there was the talk of us signing him permanent and, you know, if he wasn't getting played, it'd just be a recall and we'd look at someone else. So I wouldn't be kind of worried about that. I just feel like Davies is a really big fan of him.
Yeah. And the other thing I was going to throw out there is I respect Allsop in the back that what's happened this season, he got dropped, but he still signed a contract extension.
Yeah.
Like, he still wants to be about, and I've got nothing but respect for him. You see, like we said, he gives 110% for the club. I can't think of many other keepers last season that would have saved that double effort from Louis Barry against us at home when he got low, saved it, and then got back up and got to it again. Like, the follow-up, that was unbelievable. Like, he's a very good keeper on his day. And I just feel bad for him because that kicking is such a weapon. And, you know, like, we're going to move on to Norwich at some point, but Norwich are going to attack us on Saturday. Millwall away after that, they're going to attack us as well. Like, Allsop's distribution, putting it over the top to Damari, Osman, Vincente, Roberts, Stansfield, Prisk, Duck. Like, you've got so many options.
Like Jordan's saying, the rotation option is there, and it would be good to do because these two games coming up, you've got Norwich on Saturday, who I think Allsop would be fantastic for, because for me, they're going to try and attack us because they're at home anyway. But Norwich have had a good run of form recently. I think they've won 5 out of their last 6 games. Norwich is insane. Obviously, it's playoff form. They're rising back up the table, but they will attack. They'll want to beat us and get their own back for what we did to them at our place. But there'll be plenty of space in behind when they're attacking. So if Allsop can pick that ball up and ping it forward, we've got the pace to counter attack, and I think that's a perfect game for him. But then, as Jordan said, at Millwall, they're tall shithouse bastards that are going to just pump balls into the box, get it wide, cross it in, try and get a 1-0 heading win. Beadle's the one you need for that because he can come and collect and claim it when in his box.
I was going to say, do you know what? That's a great point. I was just literally going to go on to that about Beadle's probably more dominant in the air. So if anyone's going to be putting a cross in, I'd say Beadle. You know, it is a case of you've kind of got that weight distribution of, oh, this one's really good at this, and then this one's here with this, and then this one's above with it. It's probably a great headache to have.
If you could mould them both into one person, you'd have the perfect goalkeeper, wouldn't you? That's the issue.
Yeah, and I think Max is onto a really good point there. Is that, you know, Millwall are going to put the balls in the box. They're going to be dominant, and I think it depends on, again, your starting centre backs as well.
Yeah, and we'll move on to centre backs on that note. Just talk about the Leeds game in general now, anyway. But really impressed with Panzo.
Yeah. Panzo, I thought was outstanding. I really did. He brought calmness and control again. Again, I didn't think he had to face too much because the midfield did such a good job in that first half. Because I can't remember what minute Panzo went off. Was it towards the end of the game?
I think it
was it not
the start of injury extra time?
It was after the second goal, wasn't it?
Yeah. So he played majority of the game, and he played very well. He was it just I said to you in the chat that him being a left-footed player brings the balance back. It shifts Clara back out onto the right, and it just makes us so much more balanced and flexible. So I was in the Tilton for this game, quite high up, so I had a really good kind of tactical view of the pitch, watching us in the first half. So we're attacking the Gilmerick and their shit bastard fans in the first half. But Clara and Panzo are sat kind of right in front of me, and when Allsop gets the ball and he plays it out short, we were able to go left and right so much quicker, and we were able to get back down the left-hand side and back down the right-hand side so much quicker and easier because we had the balance. The ball would come across Panzo, he let it roll across his body onto his left foot, and he would just give it out to Wagner, and Wagner would send it forward, and it was beautiful to watch. So I just think that he brought a lot of experience because he is an experienced player in the Championship, and he's been abroad as well. But it just made Clara look more comfortable, which then in turn made everybody in the back four and including the keeper, the whole back five in that area, look more comfortable. So Robinson does the same thing because Robinson's left-footed as well. So whether it's Robinson, I'm not really bothered because Robinson's got a lot of experience and he's a very good player. Whether it's Robinson or Panzo, we need to get away from the Neumann-Clara situation because for me, it just makes us look unstable in the back. I'm not saying I never want to see Neumann again, but it just makes us look unstable because Clara's not comfortable either. And he turned back into that bully, that fantastic centre back on that right hand side against Leeds, and he was so dominant and he was on top of everything. He was heading everything. He was kicking it away. He was on top of Leeds' forward line. They had no chance. So I love that balanced look to it. So whether it's Robinson or Panzo, I'm not bothered. But it needs to continue, I think. I'm sure you boys agree that it needs to continue going forward. We need that balance. So that was Panzo. Clara looked back to his best again. Wagner is mustard. Don't need to go into what he's about because he just speaks for himself because he is up there. He could be one of the best left backs in the league. I mean, he is so good, and I'm not even scared of saying that because he is so good at left back. He's just dominant, and he almost goes under the radar sometimes because he's doing his job, and you don't even realise he's doing his job, and that's the beauty that I love about him. Brighter side Samuel at right back. Here we go again. I know that people defend Samuel. I think he looked okay at times. He made a few good blocks. He got back to it and made a slide tackle every now and again. But I just want Ethan Laird back as soon as possible. And I'm not going to go back into it because I go on about this every single week. All I want is to see Ethan Laird starting at right back, and I will leave it there. Jordan can have his opinion, and he can say how he felt about the game in a minute, and he can say what he wants on that right-hand side. But I want Ethan Laird back, and that is that. Vicente and Dimi, so threatening. Vicente has got so much class. His feet are he's like ballet. He's like dancing shoes. I don't know what's going on. Sometimes a bit too much because he jumped up and decided to do a Spanish dive, and we didn't appreciate that. I'm hoping that someone spoke to him after the game and said, look, mate, this is England and it's the Championship and it's a cold, wet night at Stoke. You can't be doing that shit because nobody will fall for that here. You need to cut that out of your game. So that was a little bit disappointing, but attacking wise, do you not think that he seems to get a corner out of every single attack that he does? So if he doesn't cross the ball, he always gets a corner. It never like with Kumas, it would always turn into nothing. It would always be a goal kick or a throw into their team because it bounced off his dick and went out for a throw in. But with Vicente, it always turns into a positive gain when he goes forward, and that's what I love about him. And he's fantastic as well. So keep playing that guy. Great to see Dimi back and having a good stretch at, was it 45 minutes I think he got? Yeah. But obviously fitness is telling at the moment. Him and Alltop were working well with the balls forward. He got in behind a few times. He did trip over himself, but that's probably a bit of rustiness. The Dimi that was starting to come into form would have probably put one of those chances away because he was just kicking on to get him back to his best when he got injured, and that was the sad part about it. So an informed Dimi would have scored maybe. And then you've got Jay and Prisk in there at the top. I haven't forgotten about Solis. Don't worry, I'm coming back to him. But you've got Jay and Prisk up there, and I love Prisk. I love his aerial ability. I think it's nice to see a forward jump I'm looking at you, Marvin Ducks. It's nice to see a forward jump in the air and try and get a header and win it. And I think at some point he even tried to chest it down, but he was
Yeah, he
like
did.
8 feet in the air and he was trying. I'm like, mate, I appreciate you're trying there, but just stick your head on it. But it was great to see because Prisk is a bit of a more of a unit than Jay, but they both press together and he's quite quick. So that him and Prisk work really well together, pressing Leeds' back line, and it put them off their stride and they weren't comfortable at all. But all of the work and all of the hard work for me and the Patrick Vieira fans out there might appreciate the big bastard shithouse Colombian that is John Solis, aka Patrick Vieira, because this man, I don't know where we've ended up fucking obviously Girona, but I don't know who's gone out there to find him. But what a steal, because I know it's a loan, right? It's a loan at the moment.
Yeah, there is an obligation, I believe, if he plays so many games.
Yeah, and I think he will play those games because he's mustard as well. The way he controlled that midfield against the Premier League Leeds team. Now, admittedly, it was second string Leeds at times, but that Buenanotte from Chelsea that's gone to Leeds in January. Oh my God, he had him in his pocket and he had him on toast. He had him on strings, whatever phrase you want to throw at it. He was so dominant in that midfield, and I've seen. A lot of people, or not a lot of people, some people have given Doyle a bit of stick for the game and said that he didn't necessarily play very well. I personally thought that Doyle had one of his better games in the last couple of months. And that's just my opinion. I don't know if you boys agree. I know that some of the lads disagreed, but I thought he was kind of not back to his best, Doyle, but he was pivoting better. He was spreading the play better. He was switching it better. He was getting himself back a lot better. And I think he made a run to clear the ball on like the 117th minute or something like that, and he was legging it back. His fitness was looking good, and the fact he did that in the 117th minute shows that he's maybe trying to play for the badge again. So yeah, I was happy to see him play better, but overall we played well and we deserved to win. I think it was disappointing. It was disappointing because the game should have been wrapped up at the end with Osman hitting the post, and obviously Kanya, which I'll let Jordan speak about Kanya because he loves him. So I'll let Jordan speak about Kanya. But Kanya probably should have finished. Sadly, it was a great block on the floor. It wasn't handball. It was a great block. But we probably should have wrapped the game up to be 2-1. And once we got that equaliser, Jay, I've said to you, Leeds were rattled. They were absolutely rattled. So. There was only one winner in that game after we equalised, and it should have been us.
Yeah, I completely agree. I feel bad for Kanya, and we will move on to Kanya because I know Jordan's going to want a whole segment on Fujimoto, and I don't blame him. I thought he was great. My issue is that game should have been dead and buried, but Osman, we've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly now. Pace, frightening. Skill, frightening. Grafter, fine. Fuck me, he can't shoot, can he? Like, Lord have mercy. That one where Jay's rolled it across the box, he's about 6 yards out and he's cannonballed it about 10 foot over. Like, fuck.
Yeah,
like,
he had his skis on, didn't he, Osman, in this game? Unfortunately, he had
the same boots he wore in the first half of his first game. If I remember rightly, when he was on his arse every 2 minutes. No. Thing is with Osman is you can see. He's just scored that goal. He's coming off the back of it, and the confidence is there. He wants more, but maybe someone needs to say to him, "You want it, but we need the goals. You might want them, we need them. So just play it through. Be sensible." I like him. I've got a lot of time for him. I like everything that he does. I like the fact that even when he misses, there's a smile. There's one because I didn't get to the game on Sunday. I spent it with my dad, and we watched, and my dad was fucking seething. He's an old school head. He likes to, just whinge about a player instead of watching them. And I was like, you need to watch this replay come up. And as soon as the replay comes up, and Osman's missed a goal, and at one point you have Jay, Dutch, and I believe it's Roberts, all just like death stare Osman, and he turns away, puts his hand on his shoulder and just smiles and walks back. And I'm like, it's not an arrogance, it's a, oh shit, I fucked up, sorry guys, get on with it. Sort of like me on pro clubs, just want to do it all to improve. Sorry, boys, my bad. And now I really like him. Like you said, really nice to see Dimmy back on the pitch and looking good. And we were sat there in that first kind of 35 minutes, and he's run through a few times and he's looking sharp. And then I'm watching him and I'm like, this pitch is chewing up under his feet. And like when you're coming back from, a couple of weeks out and you've had kind of a bad season of it, last thing you want to do is go slipping on your ass and injuring yourself further. There's no point, especially in the cup when you've got a equally as good, I would say, winger on the bench as an option. Rest yourself, get yourself your 45 minutes, get your game sharpness back up, come back ready for, what the one thing I'm going to touch on quickly is the 3 next games are probably telling tale of the season. 3 really difficult games. Norwich, we've famously struggled at Carrow Road. Millwall, on a good day could beat anyone. And then Middlesbrough at home, the team that I reckon will win it all. So this is what I mean by Leeds was a good chance to have a look at a few faces that we really needed to see. And we will get on to Kenya. I'm going to touch on that. It's going to probably be one of those that people think I'm a bit of a fanboy for, but we'll get on to that. So again, we'll go back through how Max did there, breaking down the team. And I'm going to give him a shout out because I got a bollocking last week. My mate Blaine, who I sit with, we all know Blaine. I mention him a lot. But he moaned last week that I didn't mention his name. I just said the lads I sat with. So Blaine, you're getting your shout out. But he texted me halfway through and he was like, have I just seen BT put Bright Samuel up for man of the match? And I was like,
I did.
Yeah. And he was like, why? And I was like, look, I like Bright Samuel, but he's not strong enough off the ball. So if it's a one-on-one run, he can outpace anyone. I mean, the fact that was it Dominic Calvert-Lewin? He sprinted from about 12 yards back behind him to get in front of him, and Calvert-Lewin's looking as if to say, "Well, who the fuck was that?" He looks around, and Bright's there. My issue is with him is when he's one-on-one defending and it's shoulder to shoulder. 9 times out of 10, he gets pushed over, or they just turn him and they're off. I don't think he's a bad defender. I'm not saying he's a bad defender. But again, I do really want to see Laird back. I think Laird will gel this team to where we need it to be. And, that's not saying I want to see the end of Asai Samuel. I really reckon that we've got that rotation in it then of Laird and Asai Samuel week in, week out, the same as we're talking about with Beadle and Allsop. Just don't put Iwata back in right back. We're now seeing the downfall of Pate being out is that you only have those 2 midfield options. And I think as the game went on, we started to see that midfield probably needed a bit of help in there. Solis having to come off and putting Boteka in there. Iwata goes in there and does just as good a job as Solis was doing for the last 20 minutes to shore us down to maybe a win, maybe penalties. That's something that we can look at down the line. Panzo, for me, is everything we wanted Emmanuel Iwu to be after one game. He's a handsome, stocky-looking motherfucker who can get about and do his job well. It's sort of, I'm looking back at previous seasons and I'm going, Kevin Long and Emmanuel Iwu regens are Panzo and Robinson, but we're just better. We're just in a better position to have those sort of players. The Kevin Long kind of, we loved Kevin Long when he played. A lot of us did because he just shored things up, which I think Jack Robinson does. Panzo looks comfortable next to Clara. I'd like to see Neumann now. I don't want to see the end of him. Instead of overstraining Wagner, maybe Neumann is your backup left back until Cochrane's back.
He can play full-back positions.
This is what I'm saying. So the depth goes way beyond what we've known so far, and now we've got the option of, well, you could put Neumann in there instead of overdoing Wagner, because since the bloke's come in, has he rested? Has he played full 90s and everything?
He hasn't, but we haven't lost a game since he's played either.
No, but this is what I mean, though. But you don't want to go to a point where you'd break the bloke.
No, of course. If
So-
he ruptures himself for the season, we're in the bin.
Mate, I'm watching him before that penalty shootouts getting rub downs because he's tightening up, and I'm thinking, just take the fucker off and put one of the kids at left back, because if he gets injured because of this, we're fucked. Our whole season goes down, you know. But Neumann can play in there. So, yeah, we'll go forward. Doyle. Yeah, I mean, probably not his strongest game that we've ever seen him have, but it wasn't his weakest game. He was just, he got about, he did something that he needed to do. I think the problem is with Doyle, he needs to be either side of the midfield, so either behind them or in front of them. He isn't a midfield general like a Paker or a Iwata is. He needs to either be in the holding midfield slot or just in front of the midfielders, kind of creating play. I feel like a lot of what he does at the minute is having to stand in the middle and break down play and spray passes out to where they need to go sensibly. The one thing I have found, and again, shout out to Blaine with this one, we've both said in previous games, Doyle, when he plays, is when we start going sideways and backwards. I think that's down to, like I said, he's being forced into a role he's not comfortable with. I don't think it's that he's not comfortable in midfield. I just think he's probably not in the right position. I think Solis next to him really shores us up, you know. I really do like Solis. I can't wait to get him on a permanent and have that song ringing out St Andrews for the next 3.5 years. Again, if we're going previous years, he's everything we wanted Chekendoy to be. You know,
he's everything Ivan Sunjic was promised to us. That's what he is.
No, you see, it's a different type of player. You wanted a big shithouse when we signed Ndoye or Guiro and Endor, and we got a lolloping piece of shit that kept falling over. You've got kind of the sensibility in the feet of Bakuna, but with the absolute toughness of Barry Ferguson. You know, that's what I think. And the fact that anything drops near that bloke's head, like, I genuinely think if the moon was to fall on Earth and it was to come down, he'd head it back into orbit, because it just, the anything lands near his head, he wins the header. He doesn't automatically flick it on or send it far, but it will touch his head before it goes back to any other player. You know, he's great. I really do like Solis. Again, out onto your wing, Vicente. Fucking magic, isn't he? Is what we've wanted from since Chris Burke. You know, it must just be a thing about blues and ginger lads. You know, Chris Burke, Seb Larson. We fucking love a ginger winger, don't we? That can put the fucking graft in. So no,
the most Scottish looking Spaniard I ever did see. Though.
Oh yeah. You know, it's like having an Argentinian called McAllister, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's fucking unreal. But no, mate, honestly, his feet are magic. But then the fact that you can go, oh, well, 60 minutes in is tiring. We'll just chuck Patrick Roberts out. Yeah, fuck me, what a team we have at the minute. Yeah, if we can get this ball rolling. I mean, he comes on, Patrick Roberts, and he just runs at everyone. He's the most scariest looking fucker to run at you as well, because his head goes down and he's just, you know, he's straight at you. He's like a fucking dart. You know, if Patrick Roberts run at me at the park, I'd run away thinking it's a bee. It's fucking horrendous. Like, he's just so fucking small and compact. He is the English Messi, and he's just fucking, he can get through any gap. I genuinely think if there was a crack in a fucking player's boots, he'd crawl through it, because he's fucking unreal. But I going forward, I've got no issue with anything. Stano, what does that kid have to do to get fucking statue already? You know what I mean? Because he just runs and runs and runs until he can't fucking run anymore. And I've touched on it in previous weeks. You watch him, he runs himself that fucking into the ground. He has to go and have a fucking energy jelly on the sidelines because he's literally like burning out. Like how that fucker doesn't just fall asleep the minute he walks off the pitch. Because if I ran like that, mate, I'd genuinely be smaller than my 5-year-old because the kid just runs himself into the ground every game. Priska, again, everything that comes up to him, he looks like he wants it. Whether the goals, me and you spoke about this in the week, James, the goals will come. I've got no doubt it's not a Kyogo situation. The goals will come for him because he fucking wants it to come. You can see everything in that kid's run is that he wants that ball. He looks like he's going to murder someone when he runs behind him. It's really fucking like intelligent runs as well, not just running into no place at all. He wants to run for the ball. Again, Osman and Dimmy, you know, Osman's had a stinker for that game, but you know, I've seen a Leeds fan on Twitter say that he was man of the match for him because he could have put him to bed probably 3 or 4 times, and he just, you know. But the thing is I don't mind it if it's, you know, when we're not going to.
He's trying, isn't he? He's trying. Like if he was just like jogging and not giving a fuck, you'd be like piss off. But
mate,
he's giving everything.
I've never seen someone be stood still on a halfway line, see a loose ball, and like the only way I can compare it to is watching a greyhound chase a hare. He sees it go and he's like, "Fuck," you know, like he's off. So Max, you love your Disney, you love your Disney stuff, don't you? Me and you do. My missus said to me the other day, he is like Doug from Up because he sees a squirrel and he's fucking off. Like that kid is literally on business. But I like him. And my dad sat there and he's going, "Oh, this lad's shit. This, oh, fuck it, this or that." And I went, "Dad," I said, genuinely, never watch a Blues game again if you think he's shit, because I've seen what we signed earlier this season, and thankfully he was playing up top for Hull the other night and not us now. I like, genuinely, mate, I'm so impressed with that team. And then we're just going to touch on one last thing before we kind of move on. Fucking Kanye Fujimoto, right? Comes on that pitch, right? And at that time, I'm kind of sitting there with my fucking hoodie over my face. And I'm saying to my dad, I'm like, "Oh, I just want this to fucking be over now." And like, I didn't even see the substitution get made. And my dad just went, "Who's that?" I was like, "It's fucking Kanye." And mate, no word of a lie, their back door in their bungalow nearly got put through by my fat ass because I fucking jumped around that bungalow like it was my own child come on the pitch. Like, I've seen people slating his performance online, and I just want to say to those people, what the fuck were you watching? Because the kid literally come on and chased everything. He played in defence, he played in midfield, on the wing. Everything Patrick Roberts did, Kanye was there to back him up. It was like someone's bodyguard. He was on everybody's heels, making sure that they were doing what they were supposed to be doing. He was breaking up play really well. He was playing really clever passes. The only one mistake I seen that lad make was the mistake after Boteka slipped up on the edge of the area and the ball kind of come in. I think it was in like the 119th minute of the game. And I'm sitting there
should
going,
should have kicked it away.
Yeah. But like, this is what I mean. I'm seeing people saying, it's, you know, that's probably, we can then go, right, that's down to rustiness, because he's been fucking sitting there chomping at the bit, wondering what he'd do in that situation for the last 3.5 months. You know, he genuinely looked like he wanted it when he come on. No stropping, no sad face. He's just come on and got on with the job. And I really want to see more of him, because, you know, I still could be proven wrong, but he's never put a foot wrong for me. Port Vale, he was strong, and he got dragged off. I never understood that. When he's come on, he nearly set Kyogo up against Coventry. Like, who the fuck else has done that really this season? That's a rare occasion. Then this against Leeds, I mean, put it down to fucking great defending, but he could have fucking scored in the last minute kick of the game to send us through to the next round. And I'm still seeing people going, well, what does he fucking offer? He offers you a bit of urgency that no one up to that point had done. Nobody else would have chased that ball up when it hit the post. He was the only one. Go on, James.
I'm just saying I'm adamant that even if he has scored, people have been like, he's still not good enough to play, and it pisses me off because he was good. I'm also adamant that if he had put that in the top corner and that had gone in, your head would have gone beyond Mars, and I don't think you would have seen you now. I think you'd have still been getting pissed somewhere in a fucking bar in Birmingham, screaming, Kenya.
Somebody would have had to call him an ambulance, wouldn't they? Somebody would have had to call him an ambulance.
I genuinely can't tell you how, like, I nearly fucking spin kicked my mum's TV off the stand because
I tell you why we know he loves Kenya so much is because when he had that shot, that follow-up shot, and it got defended and obviously blocked, the first person I thought of was Jordan.
Same.
And I just thought, he's watching this and he is sunk to his knees that he was this close from becoming a fucking hero of putting us through in the fourth round in the 96-minute winner. Kenya Fujimoto would just be an absolute legend. So he's the first person I thought of.
I want to go to the end of season presentation awards just to meet Kenya Fujimoto.
Yeah.
And literally, I don't give a fuck if anyone else is there. They could bring Keith Fahy back, and I still wouldn't be as excited as I would be to meet Kenya. The lad really fucking is like, I don't know what it is. Do you know, like everybody else had that Bernard Son fascination of cult hero? You know, Kenya's my cult hero. I want him to come on and be the next fucking, Kevin Phillips in my eyes. He's just fucking like when he come on. I'm not saying he was the best player in the world, but he's so unlucky to not get more game time from what we've seen so far.
I think he has give Davis a very big headache now. Because now, like you said, Jord, and Max, you said it, if he's not good enough, that's fine. But let me see that he's not fucking good enough then.
Yeah.
Didn't do anything to make me think you weren't good enough.
I think that I just wanted to throw a few points out before we moved on, just based on what Jordan said. With Kenya, he's played him now, and it's almost like we're all sat here thinking, okay, so is this his chance now? Are we gonna start seeing a little bit more of him? Because I think for the rest of the season, you're paying him his wages to sit on the bench and train every week. So it's nice to actually see him play. And I agree with Jordan that he did pretty well. I thought he did quite well. Apart from that mistake at the back, that's just rustiness. That's just not knowing what to do in that situation. I thought he played really well, and he was starting when we were having those when he came on and we were having those attacks and those counter attacks. It was all starting with him. He started it all, so he would pick up that ball in midfield and he would spray it left and spray it right, and he was playing some really nice passes as well. And it was sad he didn't get the finish, but he was in the right place, and that's what I like about it. He didn't score, but he was in the right place, so he'll be in the right place again. With going back to the game as a whole, because I feel like we've gone through the players kind of individually. I think going back to the game as a whole, we needed to be 1-0 up at half-time. I think that's one of the biggest things from it, is that we should have been 1-0 up at half-time, maybe even more, I don't know. But I think for us to win that game outright, we needed to have taken our chances. And obviously, we didn't. And Jay had a shot, and it was a miraculous save onto the post, and there was balls flashed across, and there was Solis hit the side net in. I think everyone thought he'd scored. And there was so many chances that I felt like at half time we're all stood in the concourse and everyone's watching it at home, and everyone's thinking that might come back to bite us in the arse that we haven't gone 1-0 up. And it took about 4 minutes to bite us in the arse, because Leeds, that Metcha, I mean, it was a good finish. This is the thing with the Premier League teams. You play them, you play them, and they don't offer a lot, but they always seem to end up going 1-0 up because they just get this luck. Go on, is that who? Yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, you look at it back, and he was offside. The EFL screwed us again. What a surprise! Fucking hell, what a surprise! But nobody could see that. But we got our goal ruled out against the Baggies, but it couldn't be called for us. But it is what it is. They went 1-0 up, and they got something out of nothing, and they didn't deserve to be anywhere near in front, did they? Because they just didn't offer anything in the first half. They made some changes. They brought on some decent players. They brought on Calvert-Lewin, obviously, and Yeah, I just think that was the tell of the game. We did well to equalise, and I felt like a goal was coming. I don't know about you boys, but I did
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
like it kept pushing. Our motto is keep right on, and we're all singing it, and we fight to the end. And I could see us scoring a goal if it was maybe in the 90 plus minutes, but it ended up coming in the 90th. So we could have gone on to win it. We didn't. But as a game as a whole, I thought it was impressive. The fitness was impressive as well. I just wanted to touch on that. I think they've been working on their fitness because only in the last 5 or 10 minutes of the extra time did everybody start dying, basically, because Jay was sitting down, Solis was sitting down, and they were like, I can't even carry on. But the fact that Jay sat down and looked like he was going to have to come off and then scored the penalty that he did, the penalty was classic Jay finishing. I loved it, and he had nothing in his legs, but he still managed to put that away. But yeah, so fitness was good. The fact we got 2 penalties, it's a lottery, and it was disappointing that we got knocked out. Everybody looked quite leggy. Doyle's penalty was half decent. It was okay. It was a good height for the keeper. I'm sure Jordan will agree that's a beautiful height to have to save a penalty. But it wasn't a bad penalty. It was just a good save. I think it was a good save. Patrick Roberts, Jamie, I know your head was gone because I will say that he does need to hit the target. I think any professional footballer, any semi-professional footballer that takes a penalty from 12 yards out needs to be able to hit the target because it's your job and you get paid a lot of money to get the ball on target. And the fact you blaze it over the bar is a bit disappointing. I don't want to be too angry at him because without his goal, his deflected goal, we wouldn't be anywhere near it. And I don't want to be too angry at him. As Jordan said, he was running at him like a crazy bee. So he played really well when he came on. But what I wanted to say before we moved on to kind of looking towards Norwich is that I was excited on Sunday watching us. I was excited. And when Jordan mentioned Osman, he's got a smile on his face because it was frustrating to watch him and he couldn't finish his dinner. But wasn't it fun to watch? Wasn't it really fun to watch us play like that on Sunday? There was chances, there was tackles flying in, there was great little flicks, there was balls forward, there was Vicente running down the left back, and there was Dimmy running down the right back. And there was really good play out the back from Clara and Panzo, and Wagner was sending balls forward, and Allsop's kicking balls left, right, and centre up in the air. He played a ball Allsop at the start of the game, which was really low, and it just kind of and it went straight through the middle of all the players to Jay, and he got a touch on it, and he almost made a chance. And I just felt like it was really fun on Sunday, and we didn't win. I was proud of how we played. It was disappointing we couldn't do it on Tuesday, but it was so exciting and fun to watch. And I, like Jordan, Osman made mistakes and was slipping everywhere, and he should have been passing it. And maybe like even Dux was getting angry at Osman at one point because he could have slipped him in at the back post, and he was screaming at him. But not just Osman, but everybody was so exciting to watch. And Solis bringing the ball down and making these flicks and passes and having that physicality that we've missed for so many years in that midfield position. It was just fun. And you go to the football to be entertained. It's still an entertainment business. It's not, it's not quite wrestling. Wrestling's got its own thing. You guys watch wrestling and it's an entertainment business. But football, you still pay a lot of money for a ticket to go and be entertained. You don't go and pay money for a ticket to go and watch sideways and backwards every week because it's boring, which is what we've had issues with before. So I hope we start that same team. Obviously, I think Beda will come back in. I think Ethan Laird will come back in eventually for Osai Samuel. But I want to see Prisk and Jay start back up top. And I just think, as Jordan said, if we're going to get the ball rolling here and really attack these playoffs in the last 14 games, the next 3 are important because if you could come out of them 3 with no points, you could. We don't want to, but you could because Middlesbrough are flying. I mean, they didn't have a great game against Coventry, but Coventry always seem to have their number, unfortunately. So that pissed me off. But Millwall and Norwich away could be really tough. So I just think that we need to apply everything that was good from Leeds and take it forward. I hope they've had a good rest. I hope Davis has given them a couple of days off after that game because they were all on their arse, basically, absolutely on their arse. Light training sessions going into these games. And hopefully that starting 11 will come back and we can attack it now because I just think we've got, as Jordan said again, we've got a really, really strong football team with lots of depth, lots of ability to rotate. And I think it's going to be a missed opportunity this season if we don't make that top 6.
Yeah. And the final point I'll throw on Leeds, it's only because I forgot to mention at the start. The banner for Wagner was incredible. The applause for Wagner was fantastic. Like, well, as a club, well done. The fans pulling that together, fucking unbelievable. Like, and you know what? Respect. Like, as much as Leeds are renowned for being dickheads, they applauded as well. And it was a nice bit of football camaraderie of everyone kind of getting involved. When we get to Wanker of the Week, I'll talk about Leeds fans a little bit more though, because I've got a gripe or two with them as well. Because you know, you can't ever take the piss and say Kira Arm's one of the worst songs in history when you sing Marching On Together, you Man United cockering bastards. But that's irrelevant, and that's another point for later. Thought we were fantastic. Unlucky. Like, I brought Jasmine, and she had a great time as well, and she even said we played really well. Like, and you know, she said like we're unlucky now, and I was like, yeah, we were.
I managed to bring my wife who hurt her ankle, sprained her ankle, and she was on 2 crutches, and she managed to make the game. She should not have come. She should have been resting, but she managed to come to the game, and she gave it her all to be there. And she didn't think it was a waste of time because we played well. And the one thing my wife actually said, which I will throw in there, is that the atmosphere was far better.
Yes, it was. Great atmosphere. Jord, this is your talking point. You're the one who brings up atmosphere.
Yeah, so again, for someone who wasn't there, and you know, for a rare occasion, I did miss a home game. To watch it on TV was, first of all, I'm going to pick one thing out. BT can get fucked because the whole time they decided to do lineup announcements and the talk during Keep Right On. The BBC radio coverage is so much fucking better. I've listened to it back, and their coverage is so much better because they stop talking, you listen to it. I think we need to bring that atmosphere into most games. And I seen a fan on Facebook on the project page, on the BCFC project page, who said it really well. If we are the 12th man and we get behind the team, look at what it does on the pitch. They feel it, they hear it. It drives them to be that team. When you play games like against Baggies, where they're singing football in a library, and rightfully so, in a library, yeah, I said that right, didn't I? I'm half asleep here.
You're good.
Yeah, you know, rightfully so when they're singing it, because some of the games recently have been fucking abysmal. But then to sit there on TV, and my dad's tearing up, and I'm sat there and I'm going like, this is what St Andrews sounds like. And he's going, you know, he can't get to games anymore. You know, I've explained in the past, like, he's bedbound, he doesn't get to games. But I was like, does it sound this good when you're there anymore? And I was like, no, this is, you know, it's funny how we come out of the woodworks for these sort of games. You know, I don't want to be that club. And when we go to the new stadium, I really hope that we do take over our voices and our nastiness and our, you know, will to get on behind the team. And I understand we're coming out of a rough period, and there's not been a lot to cheer about over the last 10, 15 years. But we're out the other side now. Like, the cheering and the shouting that we made to get them bastards out of the club, and the cheering and the singing that we're doing to celebrate Wagner, and, you know, making sure that he's back to full health. Like, let's do that every fucking week.
Yeah.
Let's make him want to, you know, if you know, I can't really say 100%, but like, if I'm Wagner and I hear what I heard on Sunday, I'm itching at the bit to get back to St Andrews and hear it in person. You know, let's make it fucking known. Let's make these, if we can make a Premier League team sit back and say, oh, you know, really good fan base, you know, really, really loud, we need St Andrews back in the Premier League, then why can't we make Championship teams go, well, these are too good for this fucking league? Why is it all of a sudden the football steps up a level when we step up a level, but then we moan and we come on here and we go on social media and pick apart the team, but we're just as fucking bad. We don't get behind them. You know, it's all well and good saying that we're proud of the team on Sunday, but I was proud of the fans. I was proud that we were loud and that we were showing our pride, and we got behind the team. We stood up for what we believed in, and, you know, we gave our support to Wagner. We did all of this stuff. Let's do it every week. Let's make the away games just as fucking loud. You know,
Hmm.
Norwich is like I said earlier, infamously a really bad spot for us to go, Carrow Road. Let's go and fucking rip that place apart. Like, let's go and make it a nasty place to be. Let's become the fans that people genuinely go, oh shit, we got Birmingham here this week. You know, we've lost that edge. And I seen it on Sunday. We got it fucking back for one day. One day's no good. You know, it's got to continue now all the way through. We've got to be behind these boys as much as they've got to push for playoffs. We've got to push them to it as well. If they feel like they can't get it over the line, if we've turned around and we could say at the end of the season we played our part and we were loud enough to get them there, you know, then we can start pointing fingers. Until the point of that, though, we can't start pointing any fingers yet because we've not been on our fucking game. So no wonder why they've been off theirs a few times.
It's even more important. It's even more important with that in terms of playing teams like Middlesbrough, because obviously we've got them soon at home, and that's a big game. I watched the Coventry Middlesbrough game, and I don't like to give Coventry any praise ever because I fucking hate them. But their fans turned up for that game, Coventry, and they really pushed the players to play well. And I think a lot of the reason that Coventry won that night was due to the fans really being there for them and helping them through. And I think our squad is good enough to beat teams like Middlesbrough on our night. I think at home we need to be in our fortress. But if the fans can replicate that atmosphere from Sunday against teams like Middlesbrough, we have a really good chance of actually beating them. And I don't think we should just consider it. It is a hard game, don't get me wrong, because I like Jordan. I think they might win the league. I do. I think Ipswich are sitting silently beneath, and I think Ipswich will pounce into one of those top two positions come the end of the season. I think it will probably be Middlesbrough and Ipswich in the top two, but that's just an opinion on the league. But if Coventry can do it with their fans and pull them through Middlesbrough at home, we've got Middlesbrough at home. We've got shitbag teams like QPR, Preston, Blackburn. These are 3 points. The 3 points are just almost dangling there for us, aren't they? For these teams that we've got to play. Wrexham's there as well. I watched a bit of Wrexham Bristol last night, and they're nothing special. Neither they're okay, but the way the football that we play it can be insane. It can be so good.
5 cross merchants. That's all Wrexham are. It's Phil Parkinson cross the ball, try and find the big man, hope for the best. That's all. That's all.
Let's just put it out on the table now. Wrexham aren't Leeds. They're not anywhere near the level of Leeds. They're not at the level of half of the teams that they're not at the level of Newcastle last season. And look at those games. Look at what we can do in those games. There is no reason why we can't do it against the Wrexham. You know, we fucking turned them over last season. Like away, okay, we've had a couple of iffy results at their place, but at home, we do well against them. You know, let's go and fucking do it again. Let's go and do them over at home. Make it, this whole Hollywood thing disappear. Because I seen someone say online today, I think it was on Sky Sports, the Hollywood dream's over with them. You know, the Hollywood thing now has become such a fucking long act with them. Like, we're actually going to be there and say, like, you know, yes, we've had Robbie Williams and David Beckham and everything down the stadium. It's not because of us being fucking Hollywood. It's because our owners have got fucking ambition and want to take us somewhere. Their owners want to get them to a point where they can go, right, we've made a profit out of you. See you later. You know, Reynolds and fucking McElhenney won't be there forever, like Wagner will, like Knighthead will. You know, whether Brady is or not, that's a different fucking thing. I'm not really that fussed, you know. It's great to have it around at the minute, but we've got the owners that are here for the longevity that love this fucking club. You know, they've got. I remember watching that first series of the Wrexham thing, and it's all about, you know, get them to where they need to be and then fuck them off and turn a profit. That's great. That's really fucking good. But the bubble will burst one day. You know, teams like that, we can't be fearing them. We've got to go into them games now. But again, we can't go into them games and rely all on the players. We need the fans to be there as well. The fans have to be.
That's what I'm saying. I'm agreeing with you. That's what I'm saying. If we can be there as the 12th man, and you know, even Panzo was asked about it in his post-match interview. How much does it mean when like having your first kind of debut at the home ground? What does it mean to you? And he just said they were next level. The atmosphere was next level. but I don't want him to then in the next game at home think, God, this isn't anywhere near as good as Leeds and and you know, Newcastle Leeds, same sort of game, turned up for both of them once a year. Let's not do that. Let's make it every single home game, and those away fans will do their job like they normally do away from home and just pick it up. And we can do this. I really do feel like we can do something this year. And obviously we'll go on to Norwich now, but I don't want it to be a missed opportunity because we have such a good squad. And the thing that's getting me is that teams like Derby and Wrexham and Preston and Bristol, fuck off. Like you're nothing teams. Like you've got your players are average, your attendances are average, your makeup of your team is average, your history is non-existent basically. Most of you. We have such a better squad and so much more going for us right now that I feel like we should take the bit and just go for it. You know, do the ball by the horn sort of situation and just go for it because we can do that. And I think we can beat anybody around us. We've still got to play loads of teams around us at home, and we need to win every single one. But we need to show up.
I completely agree, and I am listening. My beagle has appeared upstairs though in my office, so I'm looking back in a bit of confusion at the minute. So I'm sorry, but I've literally just, I don't know if you can see, but I've just looked and then I've looked to my side and gone. My beagle's decided to come up and play. So I'm gonna have to wrap this up very quickly anyway because we're over an hour now. So shall we just move on to? Yeah, all the stuff's winnable. Anyone got a wanker of the week, or can I fire in on this one?
You go for that one this week, Jane. We've had Mad Max. We've had my fucking rant last week. Let's go with you this week.
Okay, so I'm going to bring in Leeds fans. I've got two, but the second one's quite personal, so I'll move on to the first one. Leeds fans. First of all, some of you are fantastic. Love the respect that we got, saying we were great. It was a fantastic game. You know, a lot of them even said the better team has lost on the day there. Like, we weren't all that. You played really well, you know, great club, great all that stuff. Your little keyboard warrior fans are chatting it online going, oh, look, your song's crap. Fuck off. Just fuck off. Like, you're barely going to stay up in the league. You literally had to bring on all your big boys to do anything against us. You shit little fans in a fucking shit part of England can piss off, man. Like, I was fuming to lose that game on fucking Sunday at times. And some of their fan base are incredible, and a lot of our fans, you get knobheads, but their knobheads are very loud online, and it winds me up. Fucking bellends. Second wanker of the week is, obviously you guys know about this. My car got broken into at the game on fucking Sunday. So thankfully my car didn't get robbed, but someone had managed to get into my car and pilfered everything out of it. So I'm now £300 down. I'm fucking furious. And in the nice way possible, stop fucking going into people's cars. It ruins the day for everyone. We had a really good day and you fucked everything up. Because now I'm having to fucking try and catch everything back up. So I'm livid. I'm really upset. I'm annoyed. And it brought such a downer. And that's probably why I was so pissed off about the Leeds game in the end, because it brought an absolute downer on what was a fantastic day.
Yeah, the police have got to sort this out. They said they were going to do patrols and stuff around the grounds. I know you don't normally park there, and you decided to.
First time I ever parked.
First and last, I think.
Yeah, 100%.
Do it on a whim. And I know you should be able to feel safe around your own stadium, shouldn't you? It's ridiculous, and that's where the new stadium will give us that comfort and that safety. Is that it'll all be organised so that it is safe for everybody to park and get the train and whatever you need to do to get there. The infrastructure will be far better. One shout out is the Tilton on Sunday was balmy. I couldn't move. Trying to get a wife to the toilet on crutches was like climbing Mount Everest. So that was crazy. But yeah, I think that the police need to do more with that, Jay, and we're all sorry that happened to you, and hopefully that's the last time.
Right, yeah, I know. But shall we wrap this up?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Okay. So I got to put it to an end because this dog's robbed me cooker as well. Right, guys, this has been Lawlors Law. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and thank you all for watching. Keep it on, guys.
Keep right on.